We're starting the next session. This session will be devoted to the reconstruction of Ukraine and recycling. So let me invite Petro Petrouka, then Andrita Lupa, Ksenia Ohinchak, and Marcin Nowacki. Please join us on stage.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank our colleagues of CBU, with who in the last years, in the last 3 years, we have really a very good relation, a close relation, and for us, as a European Federation, is something really, really very important because we have really a lot to learn from you, how strong you are, how courageous you are, so thanks for this. Since the outbreak of the war in February 22, FIEC has stood behind Ukraine and is committed to supporting the CBU wherever it can. We strongly condemn Russia's aggressions against Ukraine and hope that the war will end soon. Over the past 2.5 years, FIEC has been looking at initiatives for the reconstruction of Ukraine where its contribution could add value. Those include participation in events like this one. This is the third edition of the Recovery Construction Forum, and we have been involved in all of them. We are really happy to be taking part in this conference and would like to thank you again, our colleague, the CBU, also for the efforts, considering the difficult situation in which you are, in organizing it. But before giving the floor to the panelists, I would like to say a few words about the next Ukraine Recovery Conference that, as you are aware, it will be hosted by Italy. And as an Italian, I would like to try to tell you something that we understood from our government. The conference will take place in Rome, 10 and 11 of July 2025. Are expected more than 1,500 participants, and the URSI 2025 will follow the same line as the last one in Berlin. There will be a main event consisting of an opening segment and various parallel sessions dedicated to the 4 themes dealt with Berlin. Business dimension, how to mobilize the private sector for reconstruction and economic growth, human dimension, social recovery and human capital for Ukraine's future, local dimension related with recovery of municipalities and regions, and finally, EU dimension, EU accession and related reforms. Important cross-cutting issues such as macroeconomic stability, resilience, security, infrastructures, housing, energy, climate protection, green recovery, healthcare, education, environment and gender will be integrated into the above-mentioned dimensions and will be discussed in a series of roundtables. ANCE, the Italian Association of the Constructor, part of FIEC, is in a close contact with the Italian authorities, as I said before, namely the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and is cooperating in organizing the roundtable on infrastructures. And we ask to the Ministry to have the opportunity to coordinate together with the Task Force Ukraine, the FIEC Task Force, to coordinate it. The first answers were not bad, and so we hope to have the possibility to do it because we think that it could be very important for FIEC and for the entrepreneur to have this kind of role. There will be also organized a business fair for project presentation with G2B and B2B meetings. And in any case, in the spring of 2025 in Rome will be held a preparatory event of a conference. From what we understood, the first draft of this future conference should be ready at the end of the year or the beginning of the next year. So we are not far to have news about that. And then finally, I would like to mention some of Italy's bilateral efforts to support Ukraine in its reconstruction efforts. At the level of FANCE, we have signed a memorandum of understanding last year, 2 years ago, with CBU. And as regard with the Italian government, another example of Italy's effort to help Ukraine is the commitment to participate in the reconstruction of Odessa region because of ancient relation with Odessa that is done by Italian architects, announced last year by Minister Tajani and Prime Minister Ishimal. This includes the restoration of the Odessa cultural heritage, in which Italian companies and cultural institutions will participate. In Berlin, Tajani signed a bilateral MOU with Ukraine Minister of Territories and Infrastructures regarding patronage over Odessa. And we announced also further economic assistance for 130 million euros in the field of energy, transport, agricultural, health, humanitarian aid, cultural heritage, and the mining. So this just to give you an idea of what our federation also, both at European and local and national level, are trying to do in order to be present in this phase, and hopefully also in the next phase, the one of the reconstruction that we all hope that will come very, very soon. And now I would like to give the floor to, I don't know exactly the pronunciation. Andriy Telpa, Deputy Minister of Economy of Ukraine. And I would ask him if he can give us a general framework in which you are in this moment, the next steps, and what do you think about the next investments and the next future related to infrastructures.
Okay. Is it working? Do you hear me? Oh, okay, right now. Hello to everybody. About your question. Here we have conference ReBuild Ukraine. And from the point of view of the Ministry of Economy, we really should actually rebuild almost the whole country, the whole Ukraine. Because if we are talking about different sectors, about different industries, we see many problems here. But we should move and not waiting till the end of the war. If we are talking about last estimation of the damage to actual infrastructure, housing sector, etc., the last estimation was about $498 billion, and we all understand that this amount is much higher with every day. So it's very important to start rebuild and recovery construction right now. And I want to add that this damage is very big challenge for Ukraine and for the government, but we are already making steps how to overcome it. First of all, if we are talking about different sectors, first of all, housing sector. It's very important because we see that millions of Ukrainians need new flats, new buildings, new houses, and so we are right now we are starting this special working group together with the World Bank, how to reform the housing sector in Ukraine and how to rebuild it. And it's very important that we should rebuild the housing sector not in some old way, but in some new, most effective, most maybe about talking about green transition, etc., most progressive way. And also about actual what we are doing already, we, as the government, and I'm responsible for the program of state mortgage, EOSELA. Like we are supporting right now the construction of new buildings, new housing. And this year we are supporting most vulnerable categories of citizens like military, law enforcement personnel, also teachers, doctors, etc. And this year more than 10,000 new families will receive new flats, new houses due to this program. And we focused 2 months ago, we focused it on the primary market. So like right now we already had in the program more than 200 different buildings, new housing complexes. And so we, for the next years, we want to expand and enlarge this program. So that's how the government can motivate and also to stimulate the construction of new buildings. It's about housing sector, and right now we're talking with different governments. I already had more than today already had more than 10 state meetings about how to also construct social housing in Ukraine, because it's a real problem for veterans, etc. And also we are moving about industrial construction. So the second topic. And talking about industrial construction, right now we are building almost new industrial regions. For example, because we lost some due to occupations. Also, we are actively relocating vulnerable plants and factories from frontline regions. Right now, we have the construction boom of new plants and factories at western Ukraine. For example, the Carpattia region. 2 weeks ago, we visited it with the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. We had the meeting with new plants, and there you see the names from eastern and southern Ukraine. But we are rebuilding it. Almost more than 100 new production sites in this region. And so we see like new industrial regions are developing. So it's a big challenge for us, but we are already doing it. Also this year already actually started the program of construction of industrial parks. Because before we had more than 100 parks on the paper, but right now we already constructed it, and we had more than several thousands of new industrial parks already in construction. So, and there is a big demand also from Ukrainian business and from foreign investors how to take part in this process and to receive some production sites in these industrial parks. And we want to create them as independent as it's possible from all problems, for example, with special power generating and infrastructure supplies. So right now we are working with this construction and talking about foreign investment in construction sector. We are dealing with special big investments. We are like proposing from the government compensation up to 30% for all infrastructure expenditures and for industrial parks, and also for investment projects with big investments, more than 12 million euros. So right now we want to create the whole ecosystem of government support and also support from different IFIs and DFIs. So Ukrainian business and foreign investors should build and also recover, reconstruct Ukraine. Thank you.
Yes, it's clear. And can you tell us something about infrastructures? Because you told some about housing. Housing maybe could be interesting in the next future, because in this moment in Europe we are waiting for what represents and what is the meaning of the new commissioner for the affordable housing. So maybe inside that picture and inside that frame there will be something that can be maybe transferred somehow also in Ukraine. We will see. But I would like to know something similar about infrastructure, if you can tell us.
I didn't mention infrastructure because we have the separate ministry about it. So as the Deputy Minister of Economy, I'm responsible for industrial reconstruction and also housing sector. So I was focused on this one. But talking about infrastructure, it's a big challenge because we need to reconstruct it. And right now I do know that we have several programs how to support it, and also talking about what we as the Ministry of Economy do about it. We have this Ukraine facility plan, and also our public investment management when we are dealing with big projects for all budget money and mainly on foreign fundings, how to implement big infrastructure projects to reconstruct our roads, reconstruct our water infrastructure, etc. And also very big challenge before this winter is the energy sector. But we see the big activity. We are supporting this by different means of financing. So here we are dealing with the National Bank of Ukraine and the biggest banks of Ukraine, how to finance all infrastructure projects, because it's the top priority right now, and so I hope it will be only deeper and wider.
Thanks a lot for your words. And then I would ask I don't know the pronunciation, as you can imagine, Ksenia Ornichak, the Executive Director of National Extractive Industries Association of Ukraine. And we would like to ask you what resources and raw materials mined in Ukraine can become key for the restoration of infrastructures. What factors can affect the stability of supply? So if you can give you now an idea, and how is the import of raw materials to Ukraine carried out now?
Доброго дня. Доброго дня, шановні організатори.
Hello, dear colleagues, dear organizers. Before answering this question, I'd like to show you a small video which we actually shot before the full-scale invasion, and it tells you about the infrastructure of Ukraine.
Get acquainted with Ukraine, the breadbasket of Europe, a major player in the metallurgy market, a transport hub. In the 21st century, this is not enough. We are creating a new high-tech industry, an industry that will bring together nanotech, robotics, space research, innovative healthcare. We are creating a new economic reality. The time has come for boutique metallurgy. The Ukrainian mines and carriers are rich in rare earth and trace elements. Reserves of raw materials crucial for modern industry are found here. These are priceless components. The consignment of such metals can consist of several grams, but without them, it is impossible to imagine space exploration, complex surgical operations, the production of miniature gadgets, and the development of nuclear energy. Without them, the future is impossible. The Ukrainian shield contains the deposits of unique minerals: titanium, uranium, beryllium, tantalum, nickel, cobalt, gold, and many others. The deposits are concentrated in well-explored regions of the country, with extended transport links and industrial infrastructure. Cobalt. Cobalt is used in space and aviation technology and in the chemical industry. This is the main raw material for the production of batteries. Nickel. Due to heat resistance and corrosion resistance, nickel is indispensable as a structural material. It is the basis for stainless steels. Nickel is also included in the so-called superalloys. In the aerospace industry, they are used to make turbine parts. Tantalum. Tantalum capacitors make an indispensable part of portable electronic devices, laptops, video cameras, communications equipment. This is a unique material for the production of surgical wire, sheets, and foil for fastening tissues and nerves. The human body accepts tantalum as its own bone tissue. Titanium. The 21st century is the century of titanium. Titanium alloys are used in rocket engineering, aircraft construction, and in the production of parts for oil and gas drilling platforms. Graphite. The industrial use of graphite is incredibly diverse due to its characteristics and properties. It is indispensable in metallurgy, engineering, nuclear energy, and with the production of graphene, graphite must certainly be considered the stuff of the future. Gold. The gold mining industry of Ukraine can provide resources for manufacturers of computer circuits, communications equipment systems, space and aircraft industries. Beryllium. Without beryllium oxide, it is impossible to make high-performance computers, lasers, radars. Having the largest stock of beryllium ores in Europe, Ukraine may become a pioneer in the production of beryllium alloys. The world has entered an era of new technology. The demand for resources for the technologies is growing steadily and irreversibly. Ukraine is a storehouse of various metals. It has developed scientific and experimental infrastructure. Ukraine is a unique logistics hub located at the crossway of transport corridors between the countries of Europe, the Middle East, and the states of the Asian continent. Ukraine is a unique opportunity to participate in the creation of a high-tech industry in the center of Europe. Ukraine is a country of the future. Invest in Ukraine today.
This is our country. And I'd like to ask, also in answering to your question, I would like to ask for a presentation. These will be just a couple of slides to show a few things. Could you please show the slide? Yes. Yes, please. This slide shows the fact that Ukraine is among top 10 countries in the world which has the most critical mineral resources and metals. And then you have the exports, the production, and this would be titanium, kaolin, manganese, iron ore, graphite, zirconium, and uranium. And next slide, please. This map gives a very good illustration of territories of Ukraine, including some of the occupied territories. And then this is what we're fighting for. This will give you a good idea of what we're fighting for. Next slide. We signed back in 2021 a memorandum of understanding with the European Union on strategic partnership. And starting from the following year, we were supposed to be implementing that memorandum. This was about the joint development of mineral deposits. And Ukraine had those capacities where it could produce value-added products and send it to the EU. But of course, for obvious reasons, those plans changed. And then, in fact, we prepared this presentation when some of the mining companies was privatized, but this shows that titanium is quite an important mineral or commodity in our country, and we can actually provide the EU with titanium, and we can diversify also the supplies versus the Russian Federation. Next one, lithium. As of today, Ukraine was also one of the top countries in the world with deposits of lithium. But because of the military hostilities, we haven't developed any of the deposits of lithiums. But companies that have the official licenses, they are moving forward with that work. And if everything goes well and if the war ends, then Ukraine is going to have the first developed deposit. And there are many other prospective deposits. Although we have a lot to offer to our partners, but then again, we're all waiting for the military hostilities to end. Rare metals and rare earth metals, they are concentrated in different areas of a country and mostly where the hostilities are happening, and also the areas close to the Eastern Front. So those rare earth metals are located there, and they are used in the technologies that you saw visualized in the video. And I'm almost finished. There is a lot of technical information, so I don't want to tire you very much. Cobalt, yes, again, one of the rare earth metals, which is very useful today. Ukraine has around 12 licenses for mining of this mineral. And then, for the time being, Ukraine cannot issue those lots yet because of informal reasons. This has been blocked, and then, according to point 4 of the landscape plan, once we understand which allies are going to help us in the development of those fields, then this production will be renewed. Next slide, please. Graphite. And then you have seen that and you understand the prospect. This is more for our international partners. This should give you an idea. We unfortunately had only one company developing those fields, and it had to close down because of the hostilities. At the moment, we have two companies that are actually mining that commodity. And then you can use the QR code to go to Investment Atlas, which provides more detailed information about mineral deposits, the regions, the locations, and the prospects. And a big thank you for this opportunity to provide this information in the face of the Deputy Minister of the Economy. We have been inviting investors, but a lot of information is classified, so we cannot really provide all of our international partners with the exact locations of those raw materials and minerals. But we hope that more information will be published also information about the prospects of development, and then we could do our homework, and then we could lift the investment barriers. But before we actually mine these critically important components, it would be really important to get the right preparation with all stakeholders, not just business partners. At the moment, only business partners are interested in looking for partners, and we would like to have and attract a broad range of stakeholders. Next one, please. This is a map of strategic mineral resources this is a unique slide to present to you, dear speakers, dear colleagues, dear visitors. This information is actually secret as of today, and those dots on this map actually show the most concentrations of strategic minerals in Ukraine. And I would like to finish here, and let me go back to the questions of recovery and rebuilding. It is really important to make sure that all of the infrastructure that is reconstructed after the end of military hostilities, to make sure that this will employ technologies as well as great human resources, and it will involve large-scale investments. So if projects about mining of critical resources are going to be built and created, then all of the stakeholders are going to take part in that, including construction industry stakeholders. At the moment, Ukraine is ready to offer all of them mined minerals to the energy sector. We have also around 5,000 of deposits that are available to the construction industry, but only 4,000 of them are actually being used. So there is a lot of potential. A lot of the reasons are connected with logistics within the country and outside. And then this mining of those minerals could actually be simplified with the collaboration of all of the stakeholders. And this has been a very brief and a fairly technical presentation, but then I do hope that we can become a reliable partner for the EU, and we can actually substitute the Russian Federation or provide diversification vis-à-vis the Russian Federation. And we really understand that the embargo that is now being imposed on the EU might actually eliminate the value of supplies from countries such as Ukraine. So Ukraine can become a strong partner and even a stronger partner. Thank you very much for your attention.
We're really impressed of how many opportunities you have underground in Ukraine. I know a little bit, but not so much, so I was really interested. Sorry. So I just was saying that I'm really impressed of how many opportunities you have underground. I know it a little bit, but not so much, so it was interesting. And finally, we have here Marcin Nowacki, Vice President of the Union of Entrepreneurs and Employers in Poland. He's also a member of the European Economic and Social Committee in Brussels. And my answer is very easy. What do you think could be the role of Poland in the future Ukrainian reconstruction? Which are the main challenges, and which do you think that will be the opportunity for your country?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Actually, I'd like to underline that we see the role of Poland, the role for Poland, not after the war, but we see it these days too. So we always say and act in the way that the reconstruction, or what I prefer, modernization of Ukraine is happening right now. Of course, now we act as a major logistic hub for Ukraine. We are kind of backdoor for you to operate, to get some new resources. And in the longer perspective, of course, we want to do the same jointly in terms of development projects, new projects in Ukraine. I think discussing construction, development of Ukraine, we must think a bit different, because first it must be about financing. I mean, it's going to be a long way to go once we're going to, as construction companies, contractors were going to go to Ukraine and simply bid for projects openly. I think first companies, whether construction companies or other production firms, need to come up with business case for Ukraine, including the financing. And those contractors that have financing as an offer that goes in the package will be definitely preferential in Ukraine. Looking at three sectors only, logistics, energy, environmental projects, I think this is where we're going to see most of the potential in the beginning. But again, if we bring financing, whether it's a financing coming from the development institutions, EU, G7, or simply the market, it's the secondary issue. But we are looking looking at Ukraine and our base of members. We really want to figure out business cases. We have a couple of them in logistics. We have some in terms of new energy sites, and we do our best to structure those projects either under the Ukraine facility financing, where the Polish Development Bank will play one of key roles, or under the financing of funds from Poland, Europe, or the US. We even see partnerships of the US companies, Polish companies, and Ukrainian companies on a single project. So the openness to build partnerships is really, really important. Under Ukraine facility now, the Polish Development Bank collects the list of projects from Polish stakeholders, the same, of course, in Ukraine. Now we have more or less about 30 projects in place, and all of them are planned not just to use the loan under the Ukraine facility. It's just a part of the mezzanine funding. So they are not looking only for guaranteed loans from the EU or the US or other countries that will be giving their development money to Ukraine. They are also ready to go with most of the financing coming from their own pockets. And in terms of investments, I see a large difference in terms of readiness from the medium-sized companies, private medium companies, and large corporations, where the advantage is on the medium companies. They are more flexible. They are willing to take the risk because of these are family businesses, and large businesses face compliance rules, corporate procedures, corporate decisions. So I think now, as the war takes, it's still there. The aggressor is in Ukraine. We need. This is what I encourage my team to do: to look at privately owned, medium-sized companies that are ready to go there now with small, medium-sized projects, so we can showcase to financial markets that this is feasible, this is possible. The country operates, the market is there, resources and competence can be found in Ukraine. So this is more or less how we see the perspective now. We do the mapping of Ukrainian construction companies, so I'm glad to cooperate more with you, because we even see the potential here in Poland by our companies to do projects jointly also in Poland. It's both ways. Now we have a perspective of large, significant projects in terms of the airport, the nuclear plant in Poland, so we need the capacity here in coming months. And later, through that experience that we built in Poland between Polish, Ukrainian, international companies, I underline international because the largest Polish company is owned by the corporation in Spain. So we have this environment, the international environment, and having the trust built here on the Polish projects will be more efficient, more reliable working together in Ukraine. Thank you.
So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I think that we heard something interesting considering the situation, the normal situation of a construction company all around Europe. As you know, more or less there are SMEs, so it's important what we have said, that if there is some space also for them, not only for the big corporations, so let's say it's a good news. And now I have to stop this panel, we are a little bit late. Thanks to everybody, thanks to the panelists, and again, thanks to CBU to organizing this.